Welcome to He Say She Say. Today we're going to talk about abstinence. But before we get started, let's go around and introduce ourselves for our newcomers.
All right, I am Corey John.
Patty.
Melanie.
James.
Kim.
All right, you guys. So abstinence. What you all think about abstinence? I'm excited about it because y'all know I'm abstinent. Ooh.
Why?
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 Because I love the Lord.
Not why you love
I love the Lord. Okay.
I'm just, I guess I would never want to be abstinent. I understand the importance of it and why people actually would, do that for themselves, maybe religious reasons, waiting for God to send them somebody special.
The very best. Hello.
Yes, for multiple different reasons. However, I don't know. Maybe I just don't know enough about it, or I never gave myself an opportunity to be abstinent. With me going from a serious relationship to getting married, I never had the opportunity to think about abstaining.
So you don't use it as your excuse?
Yeah.
Right. Because y'all still had time between y'all meeting and getting married.
And how much time was that in between there? How much time?
Yeah, about that. Moving on.
I don't have nothing to say.
I mean, I'm kind of speechless too. There's a difference, I think,
You're not gonna say that.
being abstinent and maybe just not having a relationship at that moment. So if I'm not
Right.
in a relationship,
Right.
of course I'm abstaining. But if I am in a relationship, it just hasn't laid on my spirit right now to be abstinent.
Yeah, because
but I'm not saying that I will never be.
Oh, cool. That's
Yeah.
what's up.
For
I
you.
can understand because, as a time I wasn't saved, and there was a time I was saved, there was a time I was saved and backslidden, and then now I'm back. Right. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I'll say for me, when it comes to abstinence, I grew up in the church. I started out right. Started out doing the right thing, not laying with nobody before I got married. But then I went to South Carolina State College.
Woo, the party school.
Oh,
yes.
Party of all. I'm not blaming state alumni. We still with a Bulldog Nation now. But that was a totally new environment.
Right.
That's when I was like, oh God.
You lost your mind.
Right.
All of it.
Like all you need.
It's not your beauty, it's your booty.
Well, for me, it was both. I mean, I want the cake and eat it too. So after I came out of college, all right, I finally got my mind right, got my spirit right. So I was doing it again, abstinence, because the issue is I wanted to please God because that's what He asked us to do. Don't have sex before you get married. Well, through several relationships, they didn't go right, and I was like, you know what? Bump all this. I got selfish. I'm just gonna do me, and I went that route again.
I have a question. So do you think they did not go right because you were abstinent?
Well, to be honest with you, there were several relationships that we were abstinent in, but it was other issues that didn't even have nothing to do with that kind of tanked it. Others, not so much.
Well,
Okay.
I can definitely agree to that because I got a story. When I first became abstinent, y'all got saved. I was so happy. I was
So when
excited.
I first became abstinent, you was having sex like out of the womb.
What?
Oh,
I think
that
I'm
was a shade.
now.
That was a shade thrown, but the
Yeah,
light's
I
still
missed
shining.
it. It was in my head.
Yeah.
Until I was rudely interrupted.
Ooh.
What I was saying was, when I had first got saved, I was excited. I'm like, Jesus loved me.
Right.
And I put myself out on POL because I was like, not POL, blackpeoplemeet.com.
Okay.
It was when it was first new. How am I supposed to know everybody on there ain't Christian?
One is that. Okay.
So I go, I like this guy just got me and started talking. I'm like, you think gotta go. Then he asked for my phone number. I said, okay, but so we got to talking and he said something about sex. I said, well, I'm abstaining right now. He was the whole conversation shifted. This dude morphed into like a transformer or somebody. He was like, why? I was like, to me, why? Because I love the Lord.
I don't.
And he was like, well, good luck with that.
Ooh.
I was like, what?
Now,
Good luck with that. You ain't gonna find nobody who gonna want to
wow.
do that. I mean, what you must gonna be an old maid by yourself. And I was like,
Thank God
wow.
for the
I was
revelation.
saying,
Right,
know
but
what?
let me know now.
Right.
That brings up an interesting point. There's a large, vast majority who is actually abstinent or celibate.
right.
Do they have websites out there for?
Man, they're supposed to have Christian Mingle, but Christian Mingle be like,
Well, that's
other people be
Same
mean.
thing.
Like,
that's not
Same
what
thing.
Christian mingle may not mean. I'm abstaining from sex.
this is true.
So I wonder if they actually have.
I ain't seen them, or if they ain't like,
That ain't gonna happen.
they're not like marketed.
That might be a business
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. But you got to really mean it though, because you can be whatever you say online.
Right.
Oh, I've been abstaining
We
for
talked
2
about
years.
that before.
And your jump off just left. Like, you know what I'm saying? But you can't see it. And I can be
You don't
anybody I
know.
want to online because you can be catfish.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, that's how it went for me. I was a little traumatized. I felt some type of way. That was my first time being rejected.
Oh,
Yeah.
On
as
your
a-
face?
She said that was
Your
her
belief?
first time.
on my on my belief, because when I wasn't saved, I could have really been meant. But I said, you know what, God, I'm gonna let this obviously go because he wasn't meant. But he called me back a couple of weeks. God must have got on him, and he apologized.
Did he?
Oh,
Oh, that
nice.
was nice.
He didn't want nothing. He was just like, I just felt like I was rude for doing
Okay.
that.
So,
But that was real, like, noble of him.
God, got hold of him. Don't mess with my child.
He got hit up in the spirit on that.
Yeah, I got bust upside the head.
Something going right in his life.
No.
Tracing back you.
after he apologized and did all that, did he still ask you? So he's still on an abstinence?
No, he was still on his
So he was
non-abstinent.
free.
Yeah, and he let me be. He just wanted to
Right.
apologize.
That was nice.
That was
Yeah.
But at first, I was still in my feelings. Corey,
Or
why
you
you
want
doing
to say something?
No, I'm thinking.
Yeah, what you
Thank
thinking
you.
about?
Because,
You
you know,
thinking about how
like,
you
it's,
never been abstinent in your life?
Where's all the
Patty,
shade
listen.
coming from?
I was, okay, so we're going to talk about it. I was abstinent purposely
For 5 minutes?
for 2 years.
Oh,
How old were you, sir?
I was 20.
that's
Oh, that's a
awesome.
very,
That's
very,
a-
very trying time.
That-
Yes, I was about to say that. Yeah.
I had actually, this is so much, I never said this before, but I had actually accepted a calling to be a preacher, to be a minister.
okay.
And so I took it seriously, and I was abstinent, and then
Met Monquisha.
I had met this girl,
Uh-huh.
and then she was like,
And she said-
some stuff happened, and then I was like, well, abstinent no more, and I stopped walking. And so it just, yeah, but long story short.
So what was it about her that made you break that covenant you had made?
You know, honestly, it was,
Wow.
she was like, she was gorgeous,
I told you.
and she was very, 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 very persistent.
That she was nasty.
She was
That
very
should've-
persistent.
she was just
So
and-
she saw you as a goal. It was like, I
Yeah.
gotta conquer.
yeah, now that I look back on it, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Do you
not
believe
her
in
She
wrong.
was a Delilah.
Oh.
Oh, Jezebel.
Jezebel.
Yes.
See each other, she was like, oh my God, you look so much like Will Smith.
That is a lie. Why did girl lie to you like that?
Like, it kept happening months and months. Then one day, nobody was around.
No, when she kept feeding that ego.
You said nobody was around.
Nobody was
A
around.
point that I want to bring up, because if you are choosing to be abstinent, something that's going to help you is accountability.
Yes.
If you're not talking to somebody that's strong in that area, that's helping you, keeping in contact with you, it rarely works.
Yeah.
If you're just out there and you ain't worry about nobody else, it's easy to fall. That's wow. That's what happened to me.
Interesting. Maybe that's why on the Duggars they always send them out with a chaperone, accountability partner.
I mean, that may be what they do. But I mean, at this point, though, like for me, I have to not watch certain things. I have to not, or listen to certain music. Like I can't listen to Kels. I can't listen to 12. You know what I'm saying? I can't listen to that. Let me rub it down, that kind of stuff. Because it's easy for those thoughts to come into your mind. And then you're looking through your phone like, well, I ain't talking to him in a while.
That's
Like,
true.
oh, he got 5 stars by his name. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying.
I don't know. I can never not listen to R. Kelly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but you know,
I give up food before I give up R. Kelly. I'm sorry.
Well,
Lord have
That's
mercy.
serious.
It's that serious.
You have really got something for that man. Then.
Yes.
I've loved him ever since I was like 11.
I would say something, but I'm
He
on
was
TV.
that wasn't right.
I think the reason abstinence is so hard is because I think you can't unlearn something.
That's right.
And
Once you done experienced
Once you
it,
done
Right.
did
you
it,
can't
and it's-
unknow something.
Yeah,
Never
it's
miss
like,
what you
oh
never
my
had.
God, right. And I
Right.
think, and you know, a lot of times people, so yeah, like, so you can't unknow something, you know, so I think that's why it's so difficult, because once you've had that feeling, you've had that satisfaction, you've had that
Very
pleasure,
fulfilled.
it's hard to say I don't want it anymore.
Did you know that, sir?
No, I'm just translating, but.
He's going back
Were
down
you
the
bringing
road.
that passion? You were bringing
Right. Back
that.
his
I
20-year-old
felt
self
it.
is
I felt it. Yes, it was real.
I think what also messed me up was, see, I wasn't thinking about consequences.
Ooh, yes,
Getting
yes.
someone pregnant, you know, you can catch something.
Right.
I mean, this is when I was living that life where I didn't care about nothing. And unfortunately, you know, some consequences happened that I had to, you know, face with disease and like that. But And so
Just so y'all know, it wasn't just disease.
Okay.
Wanna make that
Put
clear.
that out there.
Okay.
He just had triplets, but it wasn't.
But I made a horrible choice. I mean, a very horrible one that I regret, but I know God forgives me.
Right,
But
right.
having said that, we have to think about consequences. What could possibly happen if I go this route? And the rap videos, the movies, they never tell you about the emotional baggage that you go through.
Yes.
They never tell you about the mental stress that can
The
happen.
spiritual.
They don't. Absolutely.
The
They don't talk about it.
They don't
So
talk
It's just the moment, the fun. It's
Yeah.
not what
Right.
happens after. The reality of the situation, really.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And you could be forced to make some decisions you were not prepared to
Right.
make. That could alter the rest of your life.
So I can totally understand somebody abstaining from sex when I think about some of the drama, heartaches, tears, pain I could have saved myself from had I not just sat never mind. Had I not
Had you not sat on
done
what?
have I not done some of the things that I've done?
But you know that takes us back to that conversation that you asked me the other day. You said, "What if you could take anything back in your life? What
What
would
would
it
it
be?"
be?
I said my virginity.
I would.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, I went through a lot of hell.
Would
I
you?
mean, it was a lot of fun, but it
Yeah, I
also,
would take- I would take
like,
You would take your virginity back?
I would take mine
I
back.
would
I
take
would
back,
do
and
that.
I don't want to know what it was like.
Yeah, I don't need the night
Only
till I
in the
get
right
married.
But I
context.
guess
Yeah.
sex doesn't really drive me, so I wouldn't
Right.
take that back. It would be some other things I would
I'll
take
take it,
back,
right.
but not that.
I definitely would take it back.
I would definitely.
So
take
if you literally, if God said right now, I'm gonna allow you to take one thing back,
that would have been it.
that would be it.
Because it would have reversed
Well,
so many other decisions.
I
It'd be
could see
something
that
else.
part
Yeah.
of
It'd be something else. If it was only one, it'd be something
Right.
else.
One.
It'd
Right.
be something else. But
But
then
no,
sex
think
would be
about
sex.
it. No, because even if you took sex away, would that have happened? See, I told you.
Come on,
Hey,
man.
you
That was
better-
good. That was good.
Hey, you got to get to the root of a thing.
Dig deep.
Okay? And plug it up. So I
It's some things I give back.
You gotta
It's
go
gone.
longer.
Bon
I
voyage.
say that back. I take something totally different back.
Well,
Please
you-
give me that
Lost
one
in
chance.
7th grade.
yeah, so guys, it's been a pleasure to sit in here
What'd you
talking
say?
to y'all. So stay tuned with us as we come back with our special guests. We have two single lovely ladies to talk about how long they've been abstinent and what they do with that. So stay tuned. See you soon. All right, thank you so much for tuning back in. Now we have our special guests here, Katonya and Jocelyn. Thank you all so much for being here today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes, and as you know, today's topic is about abstinence. And I know that both of you guys are actually practicing abstinence, right?
Yes.
So, Katonya, I'm going to start off with you. How long have you been abstinent?
7, almost 8 years.
7, almost 8 years. Wow. Wow. And how about you, Jocelyn?
This year will be 10. 10 years.
Wow, 10 years. That's awesome.
God be the glory.
Yes.
Pray my strength to myself, you know? Jesus.
Now we need them to get it together. Right. So tell me, in your own words, what made you guys decide to take this path? You can go first, Jocelyn.
For me, well, I've always wanted to wait until I was married. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Wasn't that I didn't know better, but it's just that the world, just the things of the world, and just kind of being around certain people and just being curious and, you know, all that stuff, I just ended up having sex. So for me, it was just getting back on track spiritually and, you know, really wanting, you know, God's best for me. I didn't want anything to block that. And I mean, you know, am I perfect? No, but I just wanted to, you know, really be able to experience sex with my husband, and I want that beautiful experience. I don't want to just go out there and just sharing everything with everybody. So that's really important to me.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So me, like Jocelyn said, back, you know, when I first thought, okay, when I get married, I'm gonna have sex with the one and only person. That was it. Peer pressure.
That's a big one, yeah.
Yeah, it was one of my close friends. She was like, yeah, this is something, I'm losing my virginity. I was like, what? Me too.
You just want to be down.
Yeah,
That was the thing back then. Huh? Okay.
But then it just so happened that I kept feeling like I was being used. And then even so when I made the decision to practice abstinence, I was tried. And I realized that, okay, if I'm being tried in this area, then there's a reason behind it. So I had to get my strength up and be stronger and actually be able to turn it down and be able to say no, to be able to have God's best for my life. And sex before marriage ain't it, because it's all kinds of things that person may be carrying, you may be carrying, that now y'all have sex, and here y'all go, y'all intertwine those soul ties. I'm a firm believer. I had a revelation that prayer that you get prayed over at the altar breaks all those ties, and that's what I want in my life.
So you brought up soul ties, right, guys? So speak on soul ties, because not everybody who's watching the show may know about that spiritual aspect of when you have sex with another person, you're mixing your spirit. So let's speak on that so the audience can know what we're talking about.
Yeah, soul ties, from what I've learned, when you have sex with someone, everything that is about them it's transferred to you.
Right.
And everything that's about you is transferred to them. So when it's done outside of a marriage context, it's not just something physical, it's a spiritual connection too. And so once you become intimate with somebody else, it's like you're bound together, you're bonded together. That's why as time goes by, we'll have like flashbacks. Oh man, I remember when I was with so and so, and sometimes we have that desire to want to try and go back to them, or hook up with them. Let me get on Facebook and see what I can find her.
Right.
So so a soul tie is not something that's healthy. It's something that's not good, because you're bound to that person, like you said. You get, and you can have it before the altar. We get right with God, He can break that soul tie off of us.
And I think to add on to what Jamie was saying about marriage, two become one.
Right.
And I think that's what the sex is supposed to be. That soul tie is purposeful then.
Right.
Yeah. At that point, two become one, and it's intentional. Whereas if you're not married, you still becoming one, but you don't want to.
And it also, like you said, two becoming one. When you have sex with somebody, it's almost like you're marrying that person.
Exactly.
And how many people have you married? And then the people that they slept with, it's like you're connecting with them. And see, we don't pay much attention to the spiritual aspect, because that's not what's being advertised. The only thing you see is sex on commercials and TV and magazines and everywhere, and your songs that you're listening to. So it's like we're exposing our spirits to all these things, but it's like we don't pay attention to the spiritual aspect of or the importance of the spiritual aspect of everything, because we don't see it. But if we just were to see ourselves in the spirit realm, or see what was around us, I bet you a lot of us would really just get our acts together and stop playing with sex, because God created that. And the way I like to think about sex is kind of like, I hope I say this right.
These your words.
But it's like, okay, for example, let's say you're trying to set up some fireworks, right? Okay, so let's say sex is like fireworks. Okay, you got that desire, that feeling, all that stuff. So let's say you're setting up the fireworks, you read the manual, okay, you do like you're supposed to do, and you're able to enjoy it. But let's say you have, these fireworks, and you're trying to handle them, but you're like, I don't want to do it this way, I want to do it that way. And then you go over there and your hand get blown off if you get too close to these fireworks, or you don't read the manual and you don't do like you're supposed to do. It's the same way with our lives. Like the Bible is like a manual. It's telling you what to do, what not to do, to keep from getting hurt, to keep from getting burned, but not only physically, emotionally, spiritually. And that kind of brings you back to those soul ties. It's like you don't want to have to go through that unnecessary pain and hurt, because we deal with enough of that. So when we have sex with people that we're not married to, it's just really adding on layers to that, and it's harder to get out of, and you don't understand why sometimes like women want to bash out a man's windows, or slash his tire, what I'm saying?
Almost had my tire slashed.
See?
Get that together.
So it's like we have to just kind of follow the manual, like do what we're supposed to do, and then we'll be straight. We'll be good.
That's true. That's a great thing you said. We should follow the manual. For some people in the world, they haven't always been brought up Christian, so they don't know the manual. So then, as you get older, like you said, you get in your 20s. Let's say you didn't know it, and you decide, or your 30s, even your 40s, 50s. It's never too late,
right?
You know, and you say, okay, I feel this yearning. Sometimes you can know something, the Holy Spirit will even call you to it, and you may not even know what it is just yet.
Yeah.
To know it's abstinence, or to know that it's something in the Bible, but God is pulling you to say, enough is enough of that. You need to stop that. You need to let that go. I can definitely say I'm abstinent. And one of the reasons I decided to be abstinent, because I wasn't abstinent before, is I felt that calling on my life. And like you said, and after doing research of finding out what those soul ties are, you know, because I'm gonna get a little spiritual with y'all. Y'all don't mind? I'm gonna break it down for y'all.
Break it down.
Break it down.
Preach. Come on.
So you know I can. But really, the hymen, right? Everybody know what the hymen is, right? You know what they say when you have sex, you break your cherry, you know, your cherry pop, right? So as God has a covenant with us, when a woman actually has a hymen, it's supposed to be intact until she get married. And so when you break that hymen, when a man penetrates a woman, that there's some blood that comes out, right? Because your cherry got popped.
Come on.
And so what happened back in the old days, in the Hebrew days and Jewish days, they used to have to hang the sheet up outside to show that the covenant was made, because the blood, you know, came out. And if it didn't, then somebody got some questions to be asked. Why? Where's your hymen? Where did it go? What did you do? So because of that, and then that soul tie is formed, because it is supposed to be formed, because it's supposed to be eternal, right? So when you out here and you pop your cherry by somebody that you're not with, right, that you don't love, or you thought you loved and they didn't love you the same way, you're making that soul tie, and in heaven you're married to this person. Because that's how it's supposed to be on your wedding night. So every time you go and you get with another person, you're spiritually married to them. You're spiritually married to them. You're spiritually married to them. And just like you said, Jamie, like when you said you want to leave somebody alone, how many of you guys ever said this, like, oh, I don't want them, but the sex still good? And you can't understand why you can't leave the sex alone. So now y'all ain't even got no relationship. Y'all just still sleeping together. Because it's harder to break. But the good thing, like you said, Jamie, is you can ask the Lord to unbreak those soul ties and to divorce you in the spirit realm. But also, having these soul ties with men that are not, or women that's not your husband or wife, will delay your real husband or wife.
It can.
Because they will see it in the spirit realm. You got all these men around you, and they trying to get to you, but they can't. Because you got all these spirits. And you take on what they take on, just like Jamie said. So, you know, you got issues, emotional issues, generational curses. How many of you ever been in a relationship? You're like, I don't know why I just lost my joy. I'm just depressed.
That's because that person you sleeping with is depressed, and they done lost their joy, and now you got that soul tie. Or you all of a sudden you angry.
Right. That's right.
Just get set off for no reason. And you normally like this calm, cool demeanor person, but the person you've been sleeping with is that angry person. Just get set off like that. That's what those soul ties bring into your life.
And it's important, like, also to keep in mind when you are abstinent, or when you stop having sex with, you know, this person, that person, this person, it helps you to be able to make sound decisions. It helps you to be able to make those decisions clearer, you know what I mean, where you're able to not just look at somebody like, oh, they look good, or, you know, I just want them for a night, or, you know, whatever the case may be. It's like you can actually be able to think with your spirit, you know what I'm saying? You have a clean spirit in order to be able to make the right decision on who is this person. You can see them in a different light, not just what you see, but spiritually, you know what I mean?
Of course, guys, we want to think with this head.
Exactly.
The one on your shoulders, the one with the brain.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I remember when I was not abstinent, and I would see people differently. It would be, ooh, yes, nice. But now it's and now it's like, you know, the person may be attractive or whatever, but what's up here?
Yeah, what's in here?
What's up here? What's in here? That's what's important, not what's down below the waist.
Right, or what they can do for your flesh.
Right.
Yeah.
And choosing to become abstinent weakens the flesh.
Yeah.
Because while you're out there and you're doing and you're having sex, your flesh, you're feeding your flesh, whatever you feed will be the strongest. So denying your flesh that pleasure, because you know it feels good.
That's gonna be my next question.
It feels good, but then when you sit up there and you deny yourself, even if it's with somebody that you've already had sex with, and you tell them no, that's making your spirit stronger and your flesh weaker.
I agree. So can I ask y'all a different question?
Sure.
So I mean, it's about abstinence. Let's say it right. Too. But so let's say that you're doing this path, which is beautiful. I'm gonna tell you, ladies, it's absolutely beautiful, and I commend you both.
Thank you.
Okay? To God be the glory. Seriously. But okay, so you're doing this path, you're doing this walk, and you meet a guy who actually you see something in, and he sees something in you, and you guys really want to pursue something, whatever. But his history is not like yours. Is that an issue, or is that somebody you can still make something with? Like if he had sex yesterday and he met you today, is that something you consider dating?
Well, communication. I lay it out there. I'm like, listen, this is what's not going to happen. This is the life that I'm about. And I've been fortunate enough to have guys to be honest, like, I can't do that.
Right.
And I'm like, thank you for telling me, because, and that's another thing that keeps you from wasting your time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Good point.
And yeah, and I appreciate it. We can be friends, and we can do all that stuff, or whatever the case may be. But if it is a guy and they're like, I really want, I was in a relationship some years ago, and we were actually on the same walk. So and I'm gonna say this, it is about abstinence, but this is important too. Even though the person, you see something in somebody and the person is, on the same walk as you, doesn't necessarily mean they're for you. Because that's pretty much what happened with me.
Right.
And God warned me. God warns us. It's like, just like you said, like everyone doesn't know about the manual.
Right.
Some people believe in, just the universe.
Yes.
And the universe aligning this. But I'm like, I say God because God created the universe.
Absolutely.
Right.
But you don't have to necessarily read the Bible to have that knowing inside of yourself if this person is for you or not.
Instincts.
It's instincts, or some people say that gut feeling.
Yeah.
And I had that, and sometimes we ignore it and we continue to go on, and then we kind of cause our own issues and get hurt by continuing to try and pursue something with these people.
Right.
So as far as back to your question, like if it is a guy and he's like not on that same path, if it is meant for us to be together, if it's meant for us to be on that track, then I said on that track, but on that path together.
We understood what you were saying.
Same guys.
Right. Train path,
Synonymous.
journey.
Then we will know. I really feel like you'll know. You just will know. Like if they feel like you're special enough and you're important enough, and they're willing to respect you enough to wait, then that's cool. If not, go on about your business.
Well, that reminds me, we hear this all the time, that sometimes women don't have high enough standards, that even sometimes men, if you all think we're special enough, y'all actually will rise to meet those expectations.
Absolutely.
So what do you guys say about that? So if a woman, she's lovely, Christian, she got all of this, she is professional, everything, and she's saying, you know what, she meets everything on your list, and she's saying, I'm just abstinent. I'm going to be abstinent until we get, until if it be us, and if it's not, then So would you rise to that occasion?
Yes, I would say that I would. I mean, that's the issue today, because sex is just glorified everywhere, in the wrong type of context. So, like, when a guy meets a woman and she's practicing abstinence, I gotta say it right too.
Yeah. We all got
abstinence. That, for me, that would make me want to rise up to the standards, because that lets me know, oh, she got something in her. Right. She's special. She's just not easy. I can just boom, get her like that tonight. A guy really is not looking for somebody easy if he's looking for somebody that he wants to spend the rest of his life with. Right? So if a woman raises her standards, then the right guy will see that and will be attracted to that. And guys got to we ourselves have to raise our standards as well.
Right.
So we can attract somebody of quality and going along the same track.
That's right. Yes, track. Corey.
Y'all know how I am. Can I answer for two Corys? Because I had other Corey.
Okay. Just make that transition.
So, you know, honestly, you know, I can say for both. Because if a woman, if she's worth it, if I feel like she's really worth it, yeah. Like, wait, sex is, I compartmentalize, y'all know. I used to compartmentalize. And so it'd be like, okay, she has great sex, so boom. She is, oh my gosh, she's so sweet, she's so caring, she's so understanding, supportive, she's everything. All right, we ain't gotta have sex, but we can talk. You know what I'm saying? We can build something.
So you would have a relationship with her while you sleeping with old girl on the side.
Old Corey.
Yeah, old Corey.
This Corey.
Yeah.
It's not. Sex is definitely not a necessity at all. And if she's worth it, definitely. No, sex is not something that has to be had.
Awesome. So then that's it. Ladies, we just got to raise our standards. And like you said, Jamie, men too. So as a wrapping it up, what would you say would be your biggest challenge and how you overcome them? And what could you say to encourage those who are interested in doing this?
Good question.
That's a great question. It's different for everyone, I think. It depends on, like, I would say it depends on your struggle. Like, I think it's just different because for me, it was like, okay, spiritually, somebody might not be that spiritual, but they love themselves enough to, you know, be like, you know, I'm just not going to do this anymore. So it's like you have to really put in your mind. Your mind controls everything. A lot of people feel like they can't do it. I got to have it. Oh, I'm going to die if I don't have sex. You know, stuff like that. But it's all about your mind. You know, God gave us a mind. He gave us self-control to be able to, you know, not have to succumb to the pressures of the world, you know, to succumb to like sex and things of that nature.
Can I ask something real quick? Yeah. Just to segue with what you're saying, because I hear your question, so just kind of make it a little bit more specific. Like for you, you kept mentioning the mind. We see the music that we listen to, that a lot of people listen to that's out there, the things that we look at on TV, the things we see on the internet. So if I'm continually allowing that to come in me, then I'm gonna be like, let me get to my black book. I mean, So how do you deal with that? Do you monitor what you look at and listen to?
I'm glad you said that because I was stuck. I was trying to think about, you know, what did I do, and it's been so long to the point I'm used to it now, so I couldn't really think. But certain commercials I turn from. This is how serious it is for me. Certain commercials I don't look at. Certain TV shows, Being Mary Jane and all that stuff, do not look at them. Music, like you said, I don't listen to certain music. I had to turn away from certain people that I would hang with. Certain conversations, I don't entertain them because we're all spiritual beings. Kind of brings us back to what we were talking about earlier. In the spirit, the things that we don't see, you know, is basically what we need to protect the most in order to really get the results that you're really wanting. And a lot of times that's what really makes people yearn for sex so much, no matter how they get it, and not really want to wait for God's best. So yeah, I would say, you know, protect what you're listening to, protect your eye gate. And it says it in the Bible that, you know, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So I mean, all of that ties into you actually protecting yourself from those things. So that's basically what I did to get started. And I can't believe I forgot that I did that, but yeah, that's what I did.
It's a part of you.
It's a part of me now. So it's like
it's ingrained. It becomes, like you said, a part of you. You have to make it intentional at first, and then it becomes a part of you. So I get that.
Right.
So Katonya, what would you say? How did you overcome your challenges, and what could you do to encourage those?
What I did was I basically separated myself to get my mind right. Because if you try to do this walk and you still put yourself into position, you will be tested.
Right.
And if you haven't built up that resistance, then you will fall. And I went out, I made the decision, got with somebody, told them, you know, gave him my whole spiel, you know, I'm a Christian, I'm saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, one with mighty burning fire. No, I'm just kidding.
That's all right though.
But and I told him, I said, you know, I'm saving myself for marriage. It lasted all of 3 months. And yeah, then I fell. And after that, I got convicted because in my heart I knew what I was doing was wrong in the eyes of God. So what I did was I separated myself from that relationship because obviously, you know, there's no going back. There's in that case there's no going back. Some people have been successful, but then after I separated myself from the relationship, I did like Jocelyn said. I protected my eye gates. I protected my ear gates. There's certain movies I won't watch. There's certain things on TV. Scandal, I stopped watching it because you know that. Yeah. Being Mary Jane, never watched it. I don't listen to rap music. A lot of R&B I do not listen to. I feed my spirit, right? I feed my spirit. Basically, if it's anything I'm listening to, minus some, you know, things here and there, it's feeding my spirit, making my spirit stronger, so that my flesh is weaker. That way, you know, if I get propositioned, and I get propositioned by, you know, those people or whatever the case may be to go down memory lane, I could easily say no because my spirit is so much stronger than my flesh. And they say if you do something for 21 days is a habit, if you do something for 90 days is a lifestyle. So breaking myself from that and feeding my flesh my spirit every single day to strengthen it, to learn, okay, I should not fornicate, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that. Right. That made my spirit stronger. That made it easier to say no. And then when somebody comes up to me, and I don't know if you slept with somebody yesterday, you slept with somebody right before you come to meet me. But my thing is, I'm saved. I live for Christ. Right now, God is my husband. And I'm saving myself for my actual natural husband. Yeah. And if you can't walk that walk with me, then I ain't got time for you.
You just singled your own self out. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for being here with us today. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank y'all so much. Please stay tuned as we do have an actual married couple who were abstinent until they got married. So we got some wonderful questions to ask them. All right, see you in a little bit. Thank you. Welcome back. We have the registers here today. Wonderful, wonderful. So introduce yourselves.
My name is Ressie. Registered.
Perfect. And I am D1 registered.
Yes. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. So we just wanted to talk about a little bit about your journey on abstinence until you got married. So first, tell us, how did you all meet?
Okay.
I'll let you roll.
No problem. So we actually met at a conference with our church in Virginia Beach.
Oh.
And so we were down there for about a weekend, and it was a singles event, and so we were there just kind of hanging out. And I drove with some friends, she drove with some friends. We didn't know each other at the time, and we met.
Did you get it right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
That was a super brief version.
Trust me, I got a whole wedding video. It's like a whole segment on how we met. It's pretty long.
Oh, that's cool.
I think got a really short version.
We tell
I
this for a
promise.
living.
New Jersey, South Carolina. So,
Right.
So, I mean, so that's your version too? Because you know, women always have a different version.
Yeah, right. The condensed version, yes. That's the version we met.
All right. So were both of you already abstinent when you all first met each other?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about
No, the thing about it, I was like, you gotta put the no. So you gotta put the dates in mind. I was like, what was that? Yeah, we were.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how long have y'all been married since you had to put the dates together?
About 4.5 years.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay. 5 in September.
Awesome. Congratulations.
So I just wanted,
So how long were you all abstinent before you met?
Before I met him, I had just become a Christian, so it was about 2-3 months right before we
So
actually
yours
met.
is like brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was probably about, man. So I'm going to, So I want to say about 9 years. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Amen.
See,
we do it too. We do it too.
Really strength and constraint right there.
Wow. Wow. So what made you decide to become abstinent?
For me, it's faith. And that's strictly what it's based on. It's just, I became a Christian when I was 14. And so just really understand the standard of purity that God calls me to, and called me to, and still calls me to, even as a married man. I just made the decision that that's the standard I'm going to live by.
Amen.
So.
I have a question. Do you think it was easier for you guys to remain abstinent, being that he had a longer walk than you? Because if it were the woman, I don't know if we would be able to tempt the man. I don't know.
I get what you're saying. Like it was
Like if he's
around.
stronger, yeah. Like as a man, you look for him to be the head of your household.
Right,
He's
right,
stronger.
right.
Do you think that made it easier?
I think it just depends on where the person is in their walk. Like not even the length of time. I think just your conviction. Like if your conviction is that Jesus is Lord and He's head of your life and you want to remain pure until you're married, then whether you've been a Christian for 6 months or 6 years, it's like your standard is your standard. But I think for us personally, being such a young Christian at the time, like I did really look to him to lead our dating relationship. So it did help that, he had very strong convictions. He helped me build a lot of the convictions that I ended up having. So yeah.
Leader.
Yeah.
Like that.
Amen. Because I was like, I don't know what's going on. How do we do this?
Right. What's next?
I got a question.
Yeah.
And I'd like to commend you guys for, taking that stance and doing that walk together. So well, actually two. The first one's very, very quick. So how long were y'all together before you walked down the aisle?
Dating plus engagement, it was almost 2 years.
2 years.
Right.
Okay. So then the next question is, all right, so y'all were together for 2 years before you got married. All right. Certainly, there had to have been some times where even you was like, look, I mean, can I just get a rub or something? I mean, how did y'all work out when the pressure really hit?
I think the main thing is before you can be with somebody, you got to have your own convictions on your own, period. And so, believe it or not, we didn't kiss until our wedding day. It was the first time we ever kissed.
Wow.
And so I knew my sinful nature, my temptations, and my struggles, and based on our friendship, I knew what hers were. So don't even put ourselves in a situation to be tempted. So we were just like, hey, I'm feeling, of course the feelings are there because she's a female, I'm a guy, but it was like, hey, we're not going to even kiss because that's just a slippery slope that's not worth going down because once certain damage is done, you can't undo it.
Right.
And so we just focus on building a friendship and having fun. And
So that's a great thing. I heard you say you all set boundaries. So what were some of the boundaries that you set? I know for some people that mean we can't be together when it's dark. Or, when we watching movies, we can't be all cuddled up and things like that. So what are some of the boundaries that you all had to set in your courtship?
Definitely in the beginning, I was living by myself at the time, so he would not come in my apartment at all. And being new, I was just like, what? Like, I'm not gonna jump on you. Like, what are you doing? But he was like, no, my conviction is, not to be alone with, another woman, not to be alone, just to make sure, that nothing happens. And I was like, oh, okay. So that was something that we carried throughout. So if we, even when we were planning our wedding, I was living with a friend at the time, and we would just be like, hey, are you coming home? Like, are you going to be here? Like, we just had to make sure, we just wanted to put ourselves in the best situation possible.
Yeah, it took a lot of planning because when we first started dating, I was still living in New Jersey and she was still in South Carolina. And so when she was going to visit, I had to coordinate with friends who she's going to stay with. I'll plan our whole days because if you have downtime, it's just an opportunity for whatever. So really, it's a couple of days, so we'll meet at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'll have an agenda. Like, we're going to the Statue of Liberty, we're going to Manhattan, we're going to do lunch, and I'm going to bring you back around this time, and kind of had a whole game plan, just because I knew if I didn't, and you have a gap of time, it's like, what do we do now? And just an opportunity. And so I really want to minimize those because you see the effects of when you don't have that standard of purity, the damage it causes. And I just had a respect for her and a love for her to feel like, hey, I want to make sure she feels protected and safe in our relationship. So
It says a lot. Awesome. Did you guys have any other friends that were practicing abstinence as you were dating and engaged, or was it kind of like us out here by ourselves?
Both. We definitely had a lot of friends that was and made the decision, but we had friends who did not understand when I said, no, we don't even kiss. They're like, what's wrong with you? What are you doing?
Right.
When we first kissed on our wedding, it was like, when they announced it, like, this is the person they ever kissed, he was just like, what?
The gas man.
You do you, y'all work it out. So,
Right.
Well, that is interesting. That leads me to my next question. So a lot of times some people feel like, oh man, I need to test drive the car before I'm married to make sure we're sexually compatible. And so some people can't actually, see it in their mind, conceptualize to keep that separate. So how did you say, and I might be a little personal, but y'all first time being intimate, were you a little nervous, or were you ever worried about y'all chemistry at all while y'all were dating with abstaining?
Yeah, I think it's something that you definitely think about. Like, you can wonder about it, and if you let it, it can be something that you worry about. But I think for me it was just knowing that like God knows what you need, and
That's real.
whatever capacity that is, He will take care of you. And there was a little nervousness, but
Okay.
I knew what I needed.
Well, God bless him on that one. Yeah. Well,
good.
big ups to you. To God. What we doing? And how about for you?
It's definitely some concerns. It's just more of the unexpected because we come from two very different paths before we met. And so you have your concerns and thoughts there, but at the end of the day, it goes back to what you said. It's really, all right, Lord, and just really praying through and not letting insecurities take over because this can take from it. But then also realizing that, like, sex doesn't keep people together, as you know. You know, you can have this great sex life and be beating on one another and all these issues going on, and it doesn't matter. So it's like we weren't built on that, and so it's just like, hey, of course we want to be great, but even this in the case, it isn't going to be a standard for us. We can't be together because we got to figure this out. We just got a lifetime to figure it out.
That's good. That's good.
So yeah.
Good perspective.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because your relationship was built off of other things
Yeah.
Right.
that were more solid than just sex. Yeah.
Do y'all have a ministry or anything that you guys lead that are like helping other people with that path? Because I mean, of course, everybody's dealing with it. Like most people who are in a relationship aren't abstinent.
Yeah.
Usually they're abstinent single. But once the relationship actually starts, they kind of
Which is like part of the relationship.
Right.
You know, you guys.
Right.
So do y'all have a ministry or anything together that y'all head or anything?
We both work with our teen ministry in our church, and so really setting the standard for them because as teens you're trying to figure your life out and what that means. So we try to be an example to them. I'm very open about my life with whoever I ask, friends that I talk to, or people that may be on a different path but just want to understand, hey, how'd you even do it? Because people couldn't even, especially my boys, were just like, how? That doesn't make sense, or something must be wrong with you. And I said, no, it's challenging, but you got to realize the why behind the what. So you got to keep that in mind. As soon as you lose focus of that, it's kind of a lost cause. So.
Well, that you said something that made me want to ask you something. You said some people say, "What's wrong with you?" So before you met her and you guys were on the same path, did you ever have women who came into your life and wanted to try to tempt you away from your path? And you're like, "Oh, hold up," or they like, "What's wrong with you? Because you're not lusting after me. You're not chasing after me." So did you have that?
Yeah, I had I naturally got a lot of, along with females I did with guys. I play football and I had my boys, but I wasn't defaulting nonsense and all that. Just said that just wasn't up for. And so, people that tried things would say things. He would thought I was gay because they just were like, oh, so we trying this and he's not responding. It's just like, in my mind, in a humble, I'm like, if I really wanted to, I know I could, but I'm not interested because I'm focused on something completely different. And I would share that with them. And then once people understood it and realized that I wasn't pursuing them for what they had to offer, that's where a lot of my friendships came from. Because they was like, oh, he's a cool guy and we talk about deep stuff, but at the end of the day, he's like, call me if you need me, and I don't have an objective in mind. And so that's where that comfort built. And a lot of people I can just talk to on a day-to-day basis, and they can get real at a heart level, and they know when I say I catch you later, it's not like, well, what time it is. It's just, you choose your friend, and if you need me, call me. So,
It's really platonic friendships that were formed from.
But definitely, you have your challenges, but you got to just stay focused. But it's,
I got something to ask you because we brought up the friendship aspect, and that's something that the woman that I'm dating now, we decided was gonna, before we dated, we just focused on the friendship, and then we made a decision for abstinence. So I want to ask you, would you say that because you guys were abstinent that strengthened your friendship, that it made it more of a real relationship because you weren't focus on the sex part?
Yeah, because it's my best friend, so we can sit down and laugh. Like, I feel like we have the most fun when we just bug out, like we're at the house just laughing, having fun, or like singing random songs, just stuff that I'm thinking is crazy, and she'll finish it, and it's just like, dang, like she's crazy like me. So it really helps with that, and just because cloud nine phase, all that, you got the infatuation phase where everybody's all, I can't get enough of you, and that stuff fades. But if you have nothing else to stand on, once that fades, your relationship's going to fade because it's not built on substance. It's built on all those hyped up emotions in the moment, and once those hyped up emotions go away, it's like, well, I don't even really like you. You get on my nerves, and she's always ate her Chinese food with a spoon. It's not a big deal. But you just didn't care about it because you were so infatuated. Oh, your spoon's so cute. Now you're like, that don't make sense. Get a fork. But yeah, so the friendship definitely helps to really have a solid foundation.
Awesome. So I would say before we wrap up, what would you tell a young man, if you can look in that camera, who's looking to, they feel that calling just like you had on your life, and what could you say to encourage them?
To encourage them, I would just say realize that a woman has to feel safe and secure, and so just realizing that connection is more than just the physical aspect and how the world boasted and make it to be. But when they can be with you and you can protect them in that way, it's going to build a more secure relationship, a more secure marriage. And so really focus on that aspect. And loving somebody isn't what you do, it's also what you don't do. And so not just saying, oh, we're going to do this, but it's like, hey, I know the mood is there, but I respect you enough to wait because that's not our status right now. And being okay with that despite what anybody else says. Because at the end of the day, you got to prove it to her and in relationship with God, to God, not to your boys or your friends. So
that's real. That's real. And you, what would you say to that lovely woman who was in your position 2 to 3 months when you first got saved?
I would say, definitely trust God. Know your worth. Know just what you're fighting for. Don't forget what your standards are. Don't compromise for anyone. And you can do it. you can do it no matter what anyone says.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for stopping by today. Let's give them a round of applause. We appreciate you all so much for being here. And what church do you go to in case somebody want to put their teen in one of y'all teen ministries?
We attend the Columbia Church of Christ. It's 1049 Harbor Drive in West Columbia. So we meet Sundays at 10 to about 11:30. And we have an active teen ministry, so we do activities on Friday nights, sometimes on Saturdays, and different things. Actually have our teen prom coming up in about a month or so. In Charlotte, so yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. And don't forget, we'll be right back.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to Kimmy's Closet. In today's episode, we are talking about abstinence. And you may wonder or may think like, okay, what does my clothes, my outfit, what does my look have to do with abstinence, abstaining from sex? The thing is, you just have whatever you wear, whether, my personal opinion is your look, your clothes does not define your values. And so if you are a person who likes to wear tight clothes, short clothes, wear it, but be strong enough to resist that temptation when it comes. Because the guys and the women, no matter, who's practicing, you will be tempted. Your strength is going to come from within, not the clothes that you choose to wear or you choose not to wear. So that's my opinion, my episode of Kimmy's Closet. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Welcome back, fam. We are here with another great story. Now, today is going to be a little bit different. Normally, we're answering mail about questions or concerns. Today, since the theme of our show is abstinence, I went through several emails, and many of them were negativity against abstinence. But here's a wonderful story about someone who also kind of had a negative outlook on abstinence and then overcame that and actually has been abstaining from sex. So, one of our fam, Aaron. Hi, Aaron.
Hey, Aaron. Woo-hoo.
So growing up through elementary and middle school, I had known based on my upbringing that it was suggested that I should wait to have sex until marriage. However, it was always seemed like a rule that was meant to be broken, as I saw it happening everywhere. In the media, news, and even starting to happen in my school around me. In 10th grade health, our teacher announced that we would be having an abstinence speaker come to our class. As terrible as this sounds, I thought abstinence was just an excuse for people that didn't have enough game or were not attractive enough to actually have sex. Our speaker...
Right. You abstaining by choice.
Our speaker came and did not fit any of my preconceived stereotypes. He was a relatively young and married. He wasn't awkward, but actually was very fun.
Right.
He shared his story of abstinence and about his relationship with his wife in a way that you don't usually hear people talk about marriage, with genuine happiness. He also talked about real-life examples of the pain, emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual that sex before marriage can bring. For the first time in my life, abstinence seemed not only like the best choice, but an attainable choice. I realized that he was not against sex or about ruining the fun of sex, but taught that the best sex comes within a committed marriage relationship. Now being married to my best friend, I could not be more happy with my decision. Well, that is wonderful.
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for sharing that, because so many people have a negative thought process about abstaining from sex, and honestly I think it's because many people have not educated themselves on it or have not found a purpose, a higher purpose, to actually remove sex from their daily lives. So I want to thank you very much for sharing your story with us. Do any of you guys have any comments?
I would like to say not only big up Aaron, but big up that school who teaches abstinence, because most schools they teach
Good point, Kim.
not abstinence but sex education.
Right.
So hey, we know you should not, but we know that you are. So here's how you do it safely. So that's what most schools are teaching. So yeah, I don't know what school district that is, but definitely big up to them.
And honestly, as of right now, I think they've taken sex education out of many of the public schools.
So then it's left up to us to educate our children.
Can we find out who the dude was that came to talk so I can get him to talk to my kids?
Yes.
Why don't you talk to him?
Because I don't want to lie to him.
Well, you want to ask for those 2 golden years.
2 good years.
Okay.
God was like this.
Yes, but you could be transparent in that and then talk to them about the pain and the hurt that followed from that, so they'll understand what all comes with that. Because I always tell my niece and other children, like, when you start, if you should start to have sex, because I'm not saying when, but you better make sure you are mentally and mature enough to handle those consequences and the responsibility that comes along with it, because it's a lot. It is not nothing to be taken lightly. So maybe we should do that. Hey, y'all want to do that? Go out to school, and say, hey kids, don't, boy.
Yeah,
Don't do it.
Yeah, I used to actually be a part of this program. I forgot the name of it. Teens educating other teens, or something like that. But yeah, we went out to the communities and we spoke about actually safe sex. So it wasn't necessarily about abstinence, but it was like, hey, we know our generation. We know that we're going to do it. These are the consequences if you do. Yes, you can get STDs. Yes, you can get pregnant. Yes, you can really throw your life off on a different course, but that was something that I have been a part of, and a lot of teens are receptive to it.
Yes.
Well,
I want to thank you so much, Aaron, for writing in that wonderful, beautiful story, and for the rest of my fan mail people, please continue to write some stories into us. Continue to email me. Continue to ask those questions. We appreciate you. We love you. Have a good day. Bye.
Well, guys, it's been a great time talking about abstinence with you all today. And always, if you got any comments or any suggestions or anything you want to say about the show, please hit up Patty with her fan mail. And you can reach us at He Say She Say on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and our website, www.hesaysheSayTalkShow.com. And we would love to hear from you guys. As always, fam, have a blessed week, and tune back in and have real conversations with who?
Real people.
All right, it's been a blessing. Have a good one.
Peace.
Bye.